Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you this fun fold card that has a cute little surprise when you open it up, and I'm using the Broadway birthday suite that is in the annual catalog on page 68 and 69. It comes with a photopolymer stamp set, Broadway birthday, and imagine all of the sentiments have to do with a birthday. Of course you could use hooray for congratulations also, but really cute sentiments that all make up a nice birthday card. So you've got the stamp set bundled at a 10% discount with the Broadway lights framelets. You can cut out the candle, the ice cream cone, the party hat, the balloon, and a really neat big word, wish. So let's get started with some of the elements on this card. So whenever you got a paper share this maybe, or you were looking through that catalog, or you ordered this paper already, I was so taken by all this beautiful black and gold. And that's all I was focused on. And then I started cutting it for my paper shares, and I turned it over and I was like, wow, look at these colors. The new in color of Lovely Lipstick and Lemon Lime Twist, one of my favorites. I'm getting a little mixed up with Granny Apple Green, but it is definitely a brighter green. So I looked at these and thought, oh my gosh, like this is really gonna be a hard decision which side to use. Oh, I usually go with the glamorous side, but I love the colors in this. So that's what I did on this card, is I used the designer paper with the pretty colors in it. So to get started, you're just going to use a piece of black cardstock. We're going to cut it in half. It's going to be 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 because I cut off 2 1/2 inches off the end. So it's 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then I scored it at 5 1/2 when I put it into my scoring tool. So that gives you, the reason why we have a little, instead of doing it at 2 3/4 and having it equal, like a gatefold or something, I wanted to be able to fit this whole word hooray in here. So to fit hooray in there, I needed to have 2 3/4 inches here. So I just trimmed this down to 2 1/4, and your eye doesn't really think anything's goofy here because it all has like the panels on it. Okay, so we're gonna start out with that piece of paper, and it's basic black, and these are the patterns I decided to use. You've got the lemon lime. This is gray granite, our new gray color, and because of the gray granite, I decided to use some glimmer paper that's silver, which of course doesn't really go with gold, so to flip your papers might not be a great idea, but I did like seeing the gray on the front of the designer paper, and I thought it matched well with the silver glimmer. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put our designer paper on. See how, oh, it's so difficult to cover up that gold, but I really do like this. So I'm just gonna put this 4 inch by 2 1/4 inch piece of designer paper. Don't worry about writing down any of the measurements. I have them all on my blog post for this card. So now this is 2 1/4 by 4. And then I'm going to put the party hats on this flap here. And that's 2 3/4. So 2 3/4. And I'm just gonna put that on with an equal amount of border around. Okie dokie. There we go. I'm always afraid of sticking my head into the camera. So there we've got 2 bright, cheerful colors. And even though this is a little bit bigger than this one, it's okay. So then this panel here on the inside, I was gonna just leave it black because we're going to put the wish on this side, but after I put it on there, it just looked too black. So I went ahead and put the designer paper on there. Even though we're covering up a lot of it, I still think it gave the pop to the card. So what we're gonna do is put this pretty one, and this has a really pretty polka dot pattern on it. So no matter what, both sides you are going to be happy with. So we just get a nice equal border around all 4 sides. And then what I did is this stamp set is really cool because it has this hooray that's a solid cursive writing here, and then these little dots fit right inside the cursive writing here, just like these little dots, wish, fit into this bold font there. And it was really, really simple to do. I just lemon lime twisted with the hooray, and then I just inked up with a lovely lipstick with those dots, and it was super easy. So now I'm going to put this, you can see I did a little there, but I just put a little bit of adhesive on the corners of, as you can see, I wasn't real happy with that one, so I did it again. And I put it just on the corners, because if you put adhesive on the middle where you're gonna write, you're gonna get lumpy bumpies there. So we're going to then put a little bit of a border also around on here. And then just double check to make sure your white's covered up, and you can see mine white wasn't quite covered there. So I'm gonna just give it a little bit more room. And then you'll see when it closes, you don't see any white. Okay, so now we've got that part of the card done. Now we're gonna go with this panel here. Okay, so my first inclination was to put the black and then put another piece of black on here, and then I was driving back from my haircut today and I thought, oh, why would I cut two pieces? Why not just score and fold it? So this piece of black was 2 3/4 wide by 8 1/2 long, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. So it's 8 1/2 by 2 3/4, and I scored it in half at 4 1/4. And then I'm able, let's just put this card over here so we can see it. I'm able to slide it in here and close it here when I start decorating the front. So there we go. So if we want to, we could go ahead and do that. Now the easiest way I saw to do that is to, we'll just put some adhesive here, okay, is have no adhesive on this side yet. That way you can move it around. So you can get your card so that you have a nice equal border on the top and the left and right sides. And when you see that you've got a nice straight, visually appealing there. Okay. So now that I have that straight, I can adhere this part here, okay? Now I can open it up, and now I can adhere this part here. So I'll just adhere that. Then that makes it a lot easier, and then you know you have it right in the middle of the card here. Since this was 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, I took the lovely lipstick and I just brought it in 1/8 of an inch on each side, so that made my lovely lipstick 2 1/2 by 4. And then I just adhered that. And I have to tell you, when I get my thought processes going on designing a card, I will think about it when I go to bed. I will dream about it. I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. And there's one thing I was trying to do. This has a really neat cutout of little like light bulbs that, you know, on a sign that go round and round. And I kept trying to figure out, I put pearls in there, and then it was kind of tedious and a lot of work. And then I was trying to figure out, oh, I could put a little strip under there. And then I just realized, it was like an aha moment, that once I cut this out using the die, this marquee die here, let's just grab it real quick. Once I cut this lemon lime twist sign out, and then I put it on a solid surface, a color underneath it, it just automatically adds a wow to the card. So then I thought, oh, okay. Okay, now you guys are going to really find out how crazy I am. Then I thought, okay, then I'll stamp inside there, and I'll have to make it all black because you won't be able to see. And then I was like, no, all I have to do is run another one of these through with white and take just the inside piece that falls out. Because when I ran the lemon lime twist through, I ended up with that, and we're going to use that on the inside. But I just ran this through, took the piece that is the pop out, and then I just stamped on it, and I was able to make the sign, and it looks like it's got 3 different colors going there. So to put this sign on, the lemon lime twist marquee here, you're just going to take some of your Tombow glue, and you're going to just put little dabs of it in between, get that little sticky off there. You're going to put little tabs. Alrighty, right, just little dots in between each of your little holes there. Don't get too generous with your glue on this one, because using the glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room, but too much glue just gives you a big old oozing. Okay, so then what I did is I took this lemon lime sign and I put it in the middle of my lovely lipstick rectangle, trying to make it nice and straight, about equal on both upper. It's really hard not to do this, especially when I'm somebody who stands up to stamp and craft and then I have to sit down in a video. So there we go, we've got our sign on there. So then I just took this piece and I used black to pull out the black in the card base and the black in the designer paper, because I'd already had the lovely lipstick and the lemon lime twist. So I pulled out the black there on my sentiment, and then I just pop it into that opening. And look how nice the white and the white shows up. So then the next thing I did is I thought, oh, I need to get some granite in there, the gray granite. So what I did is I stamped on a piece of gray granite. Okay, now this is a little smaller than a half. It's a 3/8 inch, so a 3/8 inch strip. I cut with my paper trimmer, using the trimmer and using just a little bit onto the right side of my cutting, and it's 3/8 of an inch, and then I just stamped using the lovely lipstick, and then I took my hexagon punch, and what you do is just find your word and then go over a little bit, and you've got a perfect little pennant, and do the same thing on the other side. See the words, pull it back a little bit, and do your pennant end there. And then I took and popped it up with dimensionals, but you know what, kids? That's one thing I forgot to get out, and I'm not going to run. So what we're gonna do is pop up, pretend these are dimensionals, because my dimensionals are actually in another room right now. So what we're gonna do is just use some tear and tape here, because that's what I have handy. And that's going to be put on dimensionals. So put it on dimensionals because it looks really cool popped up. Use your imagination. Okay, so the next thing I did is I wanted to pull some of the other colors out of here, and I thought of the bling on here for the balloon. And you'll notice that when you cut out using your balloon bouquet punch, and you're going to cut these two out with a piece of silver glimmer paper, and you'll end up with your smaller balloon. But the bigger balloon, the larger balloon, actually fits perfectly to cut out the little party hat. So don't worry about cutting a little, you can just punch them both at the same time and then go over and use the party hat, and you can cut it out with the die out of the other balloon. So then what we're gonna do is we're going to also imagine that we have dimensionals on here. But what we're gonna do first is put some string onto our balloon. And what I did was use some basic black, and I just cut a little piece here. And a little trick I did is I used those micro glue dots again, the micro dots. And I took a micro dot with my, got a little micro dot there, and I put it right on the back of the balloon, right where that little nubby thing is. And then I was able to put my black baker twine, and then I wrapped it around and gave it another little press there, so that kept it like it was tied there. Now imagine that this tear tape are dimensionals. You have to use your imagination here, and we're going to put a dimensional there. And then I took another let's just actually pretend that we put our dimensional on here, and we're putting that up in the corner. There we go. And then I wanted it to have some little bit of a stationary string coming from here. So what I did is I used those micro dots again, or you could use just a half of a regular glue dot, just roll it up into a little bit of, and I just put it over here in the on the side of the card, and then I'm able to take the twine and pull it over into that glue dot, and then I'll take another glue dot and put, here we go, and we can put it in another part of the card, and then it looks like the string is just hanging there. So you've got like the loop of the, that's a little bit over too far. So then you end up with the string looking like it's hanging in the air. Okay, and then we just take and put a dimensional, not snail, unless you want to use snail, but I did put these up on dimensionals, and then I put I had the silver up here and the silver down here, and then I just trimmed off my string. So you've got the front of your card done, except for, why not add a little bit more bling, since we're using the silver glimmer paper, and we can just pop some rhinestones. Usually I go with the rule of 3, and it seems if I put 4 of something on a card, it really does bug me. So here we are, getting a rhinestone off of the paper there. Boop. And I just kind of put a little bit of bling with the rhinestone. So now we've got the front of our card done, and then in the inside, we take this leftover piece of lemon lime that came when you die cut the marquee sign. This pops out. So we're just gonna pop that onto this black on the inside, and that gives a pop of color right there. Then we're going to take the die that says Wish. And this is a really cool die. It's a nice, whimsical cursive writing, and it matches with the hooray. And so what we're going to do is die cut that from a piece of lovely lipstick cardstock. You want to be really careful. You need about a 2" by 4 1/4, but like I said, we'll have all those measurements on my blog. You want to really be careful not to miss your little dot on top of your eye. You know, when you're rolling it through the big shot, and then you end up like, where is that eye? Sometimes I end up using a hole punch and just making my dot. But this time I was really careful to, and then isn't that cool how the lovely lipstick and the lemon lime twist and the black, I was able to incorporate all of those colors into the card on the inside. So here we go, put the ISH on there. And, where'd my little, okay, now is that silly or what? Oh, there it is. That little elusive dot on the eye. Put a little bit of glue. And then you have your dot for your eye. So there you go. Is that so cute or what? You're never too old to make a wish. And then the hooray, let's celebrate you. You've got all these fun birthday patterns in the designer paper that's called Broadway Bound Specialty Designer Paper. You'll find basic black, gray granite, lemon lime twist, lovely lipstick, whisper white, which is great to work with. So you can make a real quick card. My string is a little funny on that. How about we focus on this string? So to make this card, once again, you're just gonna need basic black, and it's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and score it at 5 1/2, and then that gives you this panel here, and then you're able to see this paper coming through. And then I just used that other panel of basic black that was 8 1/2 by 2 3/4, scored it at 4 1/4, and then kind of did a sandwich of this card inside that one, and it just has the really neat sentiment, like it's your birthday, you're never too old to make a wish. Super simple card. And you're able to bling it up here with a little bit of glimmer paper. But remember, this paper is gorgeous on the other side with all of this gold and black and white. I think you're going to love that paper. So if you want to find out what dimensions I used on the card, what materials, what products, you can always find that at my blog, cindyleeBdesigns.com. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com. You can also text me. You can show me a picture if you end up making a card using this design. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.